Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above by your Sibling Spirit Guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hey Maureen. Hey everyone, this is Brian.
We're so happy to be here. On this podcast, we share daily channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And today's topic is rewriting history, Cleopatra, America, and the Palladian legacy. Brian, I mean, it's not often we talk about Cleopatra, huh?
All of this, yeah, excited to get into it, so pleading legacy, whatever that is, we'll cover that. So let me just jump in. July 8th, 2024, a message of hope from the Adam and Eve story. We tell you a story now. It's of your beloved ancestors, Adam and Eve. Their flight from the palace where they resided was uneventful. There were no thunderbirds hurled from the sky or damnation trilled by the voices of gods. They left quietly. And then you have a note in here that this is you speaking. I think they stole some stuff before they left. Is that what, did you want to add anything there?
No, that's just what I got that they stole some that
Oh,
I felt like they stole some items.
okay. They did indeed abscond from the palatial grounds with a few treasured objects, which were later retrieved, for these have no purpose or functions outside the realms of Anunkai. Anunkai? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, yeah.
Anunkai. Okay. We turn to what we wish to share about the story. There is always hope. The despair the couple felt upon departing from their illustrious and magnificent grounds upon which they resided and being reduced to abject poverty was their own choice. However, if this choice had not been made, you would not be present in this 3D reality that their minds created forth. We wish humans to recognize the function of this anomaly. To say the plans derailed from the intended course of action is an understatement. However, the lives of Adam and Eve spawned were greater than anyone could hope for. For out of the depths of despair, the Creator rushes to push forth additional resources to correct the intended careening course. In this way, you can always trust that whatever decision you make, whatever path you choose, it will only lead you to new, harmonious, and beneficial understandings of the one and the all. So that's a great message, right? No matter what you choose, it'll always lead to a harmonious path. So, what's your biggest takeaway from this message, Maureen?
Well, most of our messages begin right, like darling child of the light, darling one, dearest one. I mean, we're so beloved. And just as you love your children, you love your parents, if they would befall some major, calamity, you would be there to assist and provide resources. And so, of course, we are beloved by, the greatest one, the one who created all of this. And of course, you know, it's not what was intended, but it created for something beautiful that we all enjoy now. And the other thing that I want to bring out is I love this idea of palatial grounds. So, how the Bible has it is like that Adam and Eve were naked and like in this garden. Well, I don't know about you, but I like to live luxuriously. And living naked in a garden is not inspirational for me. And I really believe that the one creator wants us all to live abundantly. That's our natural state of a being. And so I love this visual of them residing in a luxurious palace with palatial grounds, right? I mean, that's the first time I've ever heard about that.
I know. I was thinking the same thing as like I didn't realize it's a palatial grounds, but yeah, you know how things get either intentionally or unintentionally modified over time. So that's one that it it makes more sense the way they tell it too. I like it. I like the story. So
Yeah, it does. It makes more sense than being naked in a garden and
yeah.
talking to a snake. I mean,
Yep.
it, it makes more sense. But I'll go on to the next one, which is very interesting. This is from July 11th of 2024, and the Pleiadians talk about their shift from the 3D experience. So this is from the Pleiadians again. They say, "We are delighted to be in your presence. We are new to using this vehicle to communicate with the human species. You may recognize us as our signatures often left in the sky for all to see, though many miss our signature calling." I have no idea what that would be, but clearly we're all missing it. "We are here to assist the human to develop into loving ways that can nourish the planet and refresh the delightfulness of one's soul. We come forth now as your brothers and sisters. We are from the Pleiadian planets. We call forth those who can hear this call to come and heed the wonder of what lies beyond the known world of your delightful planet. Now we turn to the history of our entwined relationships, for the Pleiadians are often discoursed about on many channels, though this receiving vessel, meaning me, knows next to nothing about our past. True. We shall enlighten her as to our glorious nature of our planets. We ascended into the fourth realm many millennia ago. Like the Earth has experienced, we experienced troubled times as we transitioned to this higher dimensity. The transition from the third to fourth is a leap forward that causes some distress. In general, the gaps between the levels of ascension require a great leap forward. The difference is that as you rise, you release the negativity of the lower dimensions and exhibit trust and faith in your path. We encourage you to take this leap. It is a delicious swimming in the river of opportunistic change. To trust and feel your way forward, and to know that all shall commence as the starting baton of the conductor is raised." So I'll take a pause right there. What do you think about that? That they ascended from the third to the fourth density many millennia ago, and they experienced troubled times the same as we are doing now as we're experiencing that shift.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, we've read books that there's a lot of different planets that have gone through this ascension process successfully in the past. And so that it's not like we're the first ones to do this, but it's just, learning from others and yeah, I like how they say, it's just about trusting in the process, right? And taking that leap. So it's not always easy to do, but I think that's a great message there.
Yeah, so I'll continue. And they go on to, which is interesting, the history of our planet. So they say the history between the planet you call Earth and the Pleiadians began long ago as our brothers and sisters expanded into additional realms. We were searching for the right byproducts that are necessary to fuel our societies. Others came as travelers, for Earth was renowned for its unique beauty. The magnitude of species on this great Earth is far beyond what most experience. In this way, many travel to experience your planet. So that's kind of funny. It's like we're a vacation destination.
Not only
We
that, they talk about that, the fuel, they require the right byproducts. I think it's some sort of ore or something they would come and you sort of mine or take some material that is used to fuel their societies.
Well, in the Zachariah Sitchin books, they talk, but that was the book on the 13th planet. So that was the planet Marduk. But what they were using was gold, but they weren't using it like we use gold as like, base for currencies or for adornment on people, or as something to invest in. I mean, it's literally, I guess, when like you like kind of like get gold into a different state, then you can, I don't know. It's like it goes back to like Saint Germain, that like there's like alchemy, there's like there's some kind of magical process that happens with gold, and that's why they were collecting the gold. So who knows, Brian? But so now we have, from Zacharias Sitchin, we have that 13th planet that was using us to mine. And then there's other channelings that we've got that say, oh, do you remember we got channelings like a long time ago talking about we have contracts with your government to mine the resources. Who knows what's going on, people? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? So I'll go on. They say, we came forth at once when the call to seed the planet was established. Like the recent calls that have been broadcast throughout the Federation, these were calls to assist in the forming of the species of this planet. We aided in creating many of the planet and plant and wildlife species present here, although we took no part in the slavery and creation of the human structure. This was a low point in the structure of this planet's lifetime. We have not stayed continually in contact with your earthly domain. We have come and gone as frequent visitors. We are now in permanent residence. We occupy large swaths of land and are present in an alternative dimension. These dimensions stack upon each other like bricks and mortar of one of your strongest houses. We see all that takes place and we can easily assist. I love this part, Brian, without demeaning ourselves into the heavier densities of your planet. I would like to not demean myself into the heavier densities of this planet too, Brian.
Well, someday we'll all be there, but yeah, I like that the demeaning or you don't want to demean yourselves to our level. So yeah, I get it. But
Yeah. 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 So that's interesting. They were part of creating the plants and the wildlife. And that slavery, that goes back to that Zachariah Sitchin book. I don't want to go into this whole thing, but yeah, if you're interested in that, check out the Zachary Sitchin books because he goes into that whole thing of why humans created. And yeah, I hate to say it, but slavery was involved. What is the key points for you here, brother?
yeah. Well, I think as we've always said, they're always here to help. So it's sort of interesting how now they're close by and they can assist us, but it's really an interesting message about the Pleiadians. And I know I've got some books I've read, but it's been too long for me to remember what I that much about the Pleiadians. But I just think that it's good to know that they're here to help us during this process, and just like so many other beings are here to assist during this process right now. So ask for help, people, if whatever you're going through, and there's so many beings here to assist.
Yeah. So do you want to go on with our next one, which is very interesting? It's an unusual history of the United States from our friends, the Watchers.
Right, for some June 24th of 2024, we are the Watchers. We come forth to regale humanity with the true actions of important dates in history. That is our topic for today. We we near the time when the United States celebrates its so-called freedom, but more important dates loom in your recent past. We speak, of course, of the tides that turned when the European invaders landed upon the shore. The energetic disruption of the catastrophic events caused ripples which still surge upon your shores. Isn't that interesting that the the events from the energetic events caused from that still ripple and surge upon our shores? From something hundreds and hundreds of years ago. The lessons gleaned from those early encounters can be teaching tools in every time. For to see the other and not recognize the brilliance of their attuned natural state to their surroundings is to not recognize the God force within. We provide this example as you move forward through space and time. To recognize each individual as an eruption of energetic love within the confines of their human skeletal frame. We wish to regale you with stories of the origins of your great nation. The true people descended and entered into what is now known as Alaska. However, the state is not the same as it was in those long ago days. These people were an advanced nation of luminous light who carried forth their meager possessions, for their goal was not the accumulation of wealth, but the ascertaining of spiritual wealth. In this way, they were glowing with luminous light. Your beings who deeply reside in the matrix would be unable to catch a glimpse of their luminosity. Their energetic practices involved deep breathing. They were pranic breathers, allowing the pranic flow to circulate in the best possible way throughout the human form. In this way, they were more advanced than most US citizens today. However, most of your people would regard them as highly primitive. This is a mistake to gauge their success upon one categorization, the accumulation of wealth. Sadly, they recorded their progress through markings on trees that were read by fellow travelers. It was as if they were billboards of their day, but instead of advertisements pursuing the purchase of material objects or services, these were greater wisdoms to share within their nation. So a lot to cover there, but it's so true that the Indians in so many ways were way more advanced than we are today. And they were, connected with nature and, connected with the spirits. And so what's what do you think of when you read this message?
I love the idea of, because I think a lot of what people in the past have dismissed about like Native American culture is the lack of like written documentation of their culture. But there was writing, but it was on trees, and those trees are no longer around. I mean, they're talking about thousands of years ago. So, I mean, I love that idea. And I love that the trees were not encouraging people to buy something
Yeah,
or use a service,
that's true.
but to, share a greater truth. Like, imagine like a Rumi quote, like something really short or powerful, like on a tree, like to inspire you as you're walking by. Like, how great would that be? And to go to your earlier question about, absolutely, in your own lives, this is one of the great gifts as I age. You can see the patterns in your life. When something comes around again, it's like, oh yeah, I dealt with this a decade ago. I guess I get another opportunity to handle it in a better situation. So yeah, I can totally understand how, and you think about if something has a lot of emotion with it, it creates like a big energetic, resonance. And, imagine that invasion. I mean, that was really traumatic and really exciting for the European invaders. So there was a lot of energy there. So of course those ripples are still coming forth within our society. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, right. I guess it does. It's it's just something I guess I wasn't aware of, but makes sense.
Yeah, so I'll go off into the closing. Cleopatra people, like it almost seems like a joke, right, Brian? I mean, it almost seems like a joke, but this is from June 8th of 2025, 2024. And yeah, Cleopatra, surprise, surprise, was working with the Brethren of Divine Holy Light. So they go on to say Cleopatra was indeed a resident of our inflamed holy circle. We are pleased to pass along knowledge with the reigning queen, which the reigning queen utilized to her advantage for a brief moment in faraway recorded times. This may seem odd, these connections between alien life forms and historical figures, but trust us when we say that this is more common than unusual. Those who have the ability to connect and share messages are elevated to a higher status, as we wish to do for you and your beloved brother. We shall be nearby should you request our services. Brian, we talk about this again and again. I mean, like all of, whether it's, a popular entertaining artist today or someone in the past, their power and their ability to connect with so many people many times comes from a connection with, divine beings and star beings.
Yeah, I think we've seen like almost every major historical figure was, you know, a lot of times had this connection or insights from others like that. So it's a consistent theme that we've heard, and not to diminish any of their, efforts, but it's just means that, it shows that this is what's really occurred, and that, the connection to other higher beings has really helped individuals, throughout time. So I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, and we're talking about Abraham Lincoln, George Washington. We're talking about artists like Dali, we're talking about entertainers, we're talking about Napoleon. I mean, it's just, and I think it gives us hope for us all because guess what? I mean, if you relax and meditate and connect, then guess what? You can you can have the same results in your personal life. Like it's not, that's one thing I love about Buddhism. Like in Christianity, there's the Christ, but in Buddhism, there's many, many Buddhas. We can all become Christ consciousness. We can all become a Buddha, and you don't have to die to live in paradise. You can be enlightened right here, right now.
Right. And, we both read a lot, and a lot of, entertainers or famous people biographies. Sometimes we read, and they always talk about how always like almost from divine that to get the lyrics for a song or whatever. It just came to them. And they even a lot of times are connected and mention, that it was more of a divine process for a lot of their creative efforts. So I think I always find that enlightening that, that it's a consistent theme in a lot of those biographies. Don't you agree?
Yeah, the one I always think of is Let It Be, which is really, I mean, if you look at those lyrics, that is a sacred song, Let It Be. And, Paul McCartney, it's the most recorded song in all time. And, when he heard that song, like in a sleep state, and he thought he was, how you wake up with a song in your head because it was so complete. So he didn't play with it on the piano because he was like, this, I'm picking up a song that I heard on the radio. And then he played it for someone in the recording studio. Have you heard this song? And because it kept on playing in his head over and over again. They're like, no, that song has not been recorded.
Yeah, that's a great one. That is great.
Yeah. So inspiration for us. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
One final note, Maureen, this was podcast 100. Do we have to
Oh my
celebrate?
gosh.
So, can you believe that we have recorded and distributed 100 podcasts? Who would have thought, huh?
Brother, I'm so grateful for you because none of this would be possible without your technological skills. And yeah, I am
It
so
wouldn't
grateful
be
for
possible
you.
with you and
I
your
I
family. So,
know, but I'm really grateful for this opportunity to share this spiritual journey with somebody I love so much. And I'm thankful for all you who are listening. But yeah, thank you, Brian. This is a significant moment and we must acknowledge it. And so thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. And thank you, Brian, for everything you do.
all right, have a good one, everyone. Bye.